My cheating wife panicked when I showed up instead of her lover. You think you know someone, until the day you realize they've been living two lives, one with you and one with someone else. This isn't just a story about infidelity. It's a story about deception, emotional abuse, and survival. My name is Josh, and this is how I discovered my wife wasn't just cheating on me. She was living an entirely different life, while looking me in the eyes every single day. We'd been married for 8 years, high school sweethearts. We had a house in the suburbs, 2 dogs, joint savings, matching toothbrushes, you know, the whole perfect couple thing. But what people didn't know was, the woman I married had become a stranger. The subtle signs were there. She started working late more often. Her phone was always face down. She changed her perfume, but when I asked, she smiled, kissed my cheek, said, "You're overthinking, babe," and I believed her. God help me, I believed her. One night, I picked up her phone when it buzzed on the counter. It was a message from Jess, work, that said, "Last night was amazing. Still feel your hands on me." My heart stopped. I looked at her, sitting on the couch, legs tucked up, scrolling TikTok like everything was normal. I didn't say anything that night. I just watched her, and I started digging. I didn't sleep that night, not a second. My heart was thumping like a war drum in my chest, but not from sadness anymore. No, this was something else. A quiet rage. The kind of fury that simmers just below the surface, icy and calculating. I decided I wasn't going to confront her yet. No yelling, no crying. That's what she'd expect, and honestly, that's what I would have done just a few years ago. But not this time. This time, I wanted her to feel the weight of her own actions. I wanted her to look in the mirror and finally see what she had become. So I made a plan. First, I called my best friend James. I've known him since college, loyal to a fault. He was just as shocked as I was when I told him everything. I knew something was off about her, he muttered, but I never had proof. Man, this is next level. Together, we decided to test her. I knew where she was planning to meet him next. It wasn't hard to figure out. She was dumb enough to keep using the same nickname in her messages. That's what she called him. I went through her calendar and saw a work dinner marked at 7 p. Friday. Classic cover. I booked a table at the same restaurant. Not just anywhere, though. I picked a corner table with a clear view of the private dining area. I wore a cap, kept my head down, and waited. At 7:11 p.m., she walked in, dressed to kill. Hair curled, heels sharp enough to stab someone, and that red lipstick she always saved for special nights. And then, he followed. My cousin, Chris. The same man who stood beside me at our wedding. The same guy who held our baby girl when she was born. The same guy I trusted with my life. I watched as they laughed, toasted, leaned in like teenagers sneaking kisses in high school. I didn't even feel the pain anymore. I was detached, floating above it all, just observing, until the moment came when she reached across the table, touched his hand, and whispered something that made him smirk. That's when I stood up, walked over. Her eyes locked on mine, and in that exact moment, I saw her soul leave her body. Her hand froze mid-air, her smile gone. The color drained from her face faster than a sinking ship. Enjoying dinner? I asked, my voice calm. Chris nearly dropped his fork. She stuttered, I thought you were out of town. I finished for her. Yeah, that's what you told me, right before you kissed our daughter goodnight. The silence at that dinner table was deafening. For a second, I thought the entire restaurant had gone mute, like time itself stopped to bear witness to her humiliation. My cousin Chris looked like he wanted to evaporate into the tablecloth. And her? She was caught. Completely, undeniably, caught. I can explain, she stammered. I tilted my head. You can? That's impressive. Please, go ahead. I'd love to hear the creative writing exercise of the year. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. The silence between us stretched like a rubber band pulled to its limit. Finally, Chris spoke up. Look, man, it's not what you think. I laughed. Actually laughed. You two couldn't even wait until the ink dried on our mortgage papers before jumping into bed. And now you're feeding me it's not what I think? Really, Chris? He lowered his eyes, ashamed, but not ashamed enough. She tried again. It was a mistake. A stupid one. I was confused. I thought you were growing distant. I felt lonely. Ah, yes. The classic line. It was my fault she cheated. I worked 2 jobs to get us that house deposit, I said, my voice trembling now, not from fear or sadness, but from the weight of betrayal. I sacrificed my sleep, my health, my peace, all so we could build a future together. And you felt lonely? Tears welled in her eyes, but I didn't feel sympathy anymore. I felt numb. You want to be with him? I asked. She hesitated. And that hesitation? That was all I needed. I smiled bitterly. I'll make it easy for you. I turned to leave. Wait, she cried out. Don't just walk away like this. I didn't turn back. I didn't owe her that. The next few weeks were chaos. She tried to call. Dozens of texts, some apologetic, others angry. Then came the guilt trips. What about everything we've been through? Don't throw away 4 years over one mistake. One mistake? I guess when you're the one doing the betrayal, it always feels like just one mistake. But when you're the one betrayed, it feels like your whole life was a lie. I moved out the next day, took what I needed, left behind the memories. Chris tried reaching out too. Let's talk man to man, he said. But we weren't men anymore. At least, he wasn't. My family? Split down the middle. Some took her side, said I should forgive, that people make mistakes. Others were furious, especially my sister, who had always warned me about her. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted peace. So I threw myself into my work. My side hustle, a small online store I'd been building for 2 years, suddenly became my lifeline. I invested more time, more energy, more me. And slowly, success started to bloom. Within a year, my small store became a brand, a community. I hired 2 people, then 5, then 10. I opened a physical shop, then a second one. I wasn't just surviving anymore, I was thriving. And in the process, I met someone new. Her name was Lily. She wasn't flashy or dramatic. She didn't play games or make me question my worth. She was kind, soft-spoken, fiercely intelligent, and she loved me without conditions. We took it slow. I was cautious, scared even, but she understood. She listened. And in time, she helped me see that not every woman is a ticking time bomb of betrayal. She met my family. She met my friends. And eventually, she met my daughter. Because yes, my ex had kept another secret. She had a child, and after a long legal battle, I confirmed she was mine. But that's a story for another chapter. 2 years after the night at that restaurant, something happened I didn't expect. She came back. Not physically at first, no. She showed up digitally. In comments, in messages, liking old photos, sending, "Hope you're doing well," texts, and then she showed up at one of my stores. She walked in like a ghost from a past life. Same eyes, same perfume, but different energy. "I heard about your success," she said, eyes scanning the room. "You've really built something amazing." I thanked her, politely, nothing more. But then she said something that nearly made me laugh. "I've been thinking about us a lot lately. I think we gave up too easily." "We gave up?" "You destroyed everything," I said calmly. "You burned the bridge and then cried about the distance." She looked down. "I made a mistake." "Yes," I said. "And I made a decision." I never raised my voice to her. I didn't need to. Because success is the best silence. And happiness is the best revenge. I have a new life now. A real one. Built not on secrets, but on trust. I'm a father, a husband, a business owner, a man who found himself not in the arms of someone else, but in the ashes of what was left behind. To those of you watching, if you've been betrayed, I want you to know something. It's not the end. Yes, it hurts. It will hurt. But sometimes, the worst endings are just disguised beginnings. And the people who thought they could replace you? They'll watch from the sidelines as you rise, just like she did.